Sexual and gender-based violence is a widespread and deeply underreported reality, particularly in contexts of conflict, displacement, and insecurity. For professionals working with displaced population, it is essential to understand both the scale of the problem and why survivors so often remain silent. Even before the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, gender-based violence was already highly prevalent. According to the Organization Security and Cooperation of Europe data, 75% of Ukrainian women aged 15 and older had experienced some form of domestic violence, including psychological, physical, or sexual violence. Since the invention, the situation was worsened. In 2023, Ukrainian government statistics recorded a 51% increase in reported cases of violence against women. Reporting remains the exception rather than the norm. A 2024 nationwide study by World Vision International and the Ukrainian NGO Yevheniia, conducted between February and April 2024, found that among people in Ukraine who experienced physical or sexual violence, only about 24% sought help. This low level of help seeking reflects persistent barriers such as lack of trust in response systems, normalization of violence, and the belief that disclosure will not lead to meaningful change. Sexual violence takes many forms. It includes rape and sexual assault, but also sexual harassment, exploitation, intimate partner violence, and abuse of power. For displaced people, violence may have occurred during the war, during transit, or after arrival in the country of safety, including in shelters, workplace, or domestic settings. What connects this experience is the violation of bodily autonomy, dignity, and safety. Professionals may notice warning signs such as sleep problems, unexplained physical complaints, shame or avoidance-based behavior, sudden aggression or submissiveness, substance use, or inconsistent explanations, particularly in situations involving sexual exploitation. While many of these effects are common across survivors, displacement adds additional layers of vulnerability. Survivors who were not born in the Netherlands often face language barriers, unfamiliar legal and healthcare systems, and lack of trauma-sensitive interpreters. Cultural stigma, taboos around sexuality, and fear of authorities or of consequences for resident status can further inhibit disclosure. Underreported of sexual violence remain a serious issue in Ukraine due to patriarchal and socio-cultural factors. Reporting such crimes also presents significant challenges for displaced people from Ukraine in the Netherlands. OPORA's psychological and legal teams have handled approximately 54 gender-based violence cases, including 22 involving minors and 32 involving adults. These cases consistently point to structural gaps, lack of trauma-sensitive interpretation, weak referral pathways, especially for children, insufficient privacy in reception facilities, perpetrators remaining on site, and repeated traumatization. These are system-level failures, not individual ones. Based on cases, we observe the following barriers to seeking help. First of all, dependence of accommodation at municipal location, which creates fear of eviction and discourages individuals from seeking assistance. Second one, language barriers and the lack of interpreters at the municipal location. Third one, lack of understanding of the steps to take and the mechanism for a protection one's rights under the legislation of another country, which leads to fear of seeking help and a lack of trust. Fourth one, lack of professionalism among location managers in providing support. For example, in some cases, the victim, rather than the perpetrator, may be evicted or relocated. We also had a case where a result of pressure from managers after filing a police report, a survivor of violence returned to Ukraine. Fifth one, in cases involving children, we encounter situations where upon reporting, managers claim that the child is fantasizing and do not trust or believe the child. The Dutch services are well developed and available. Survivors do not end up in the system due to the lack of information, the lack of translators. Therefore, it is very important to inform displaced persons from Ukraine about the procedure to follow in cases of sexual violence in their native language, and to disseminate relevant informational flyers and videos at municipal accommodation locations and within the community.